All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome once again to Loyal African Minds presents New Eyes to See, y'all. Taki is in the house. We also have our host in the building, Queen Maisha, none other than. And tonight, correct me if I'm wrong, but tonight we actually going to be talking about Black people being a victim. Did I say that right? Black people being a victim.
Are Black people playing victims? Yes, and hey, everybody out there who's tuning in. Yes, are Black people playing victims? I want to introduce our guest. I know he has a lot to bring tonight about this particular topic. I know it's going to be a great topic, a lot of knowledge and a lot of opinions also. So I want to welcome our guest, Severe.
Hey, peace and blessings. How y'all doing tonight?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Good to meet you all.
Absolutely.
I already met King. I met King Ajalan, a good brother, good elder, an elder that I look up to a lot. He's doing good things in the community. Brother Taki, it's a pleasure to meet you as well, brother.
Most definitely, brother.
I tuned in, I think that was last week, man. Y'all was coming with some heat.
Oh, good. Appreciate you checking in with us, bro.
Most definitely.
Glad to have you on here, though, definitely. And tonight's subject, it can actually go two ways, three ways. I mean, are we playing the victim? Are we being accused of being a victim with legitimate issues? Or what exactly, is the situation with this victim thing? There's some opinions out there that think, oh, you're just always playing the victim and you're always complaining about this and that. And I see it sometimes in situations, but I also see legitimate issues that we can definitely feel victimized. I mean, who's at these recent police killings talking about, hey, you're just playing the victim. Get out from under his knee. You're playing the victim, brother. So there are legitimate issues that we need to address. So definitely appreciate you coming up with the topic, Queen, and go ahead and take it away.
So, I always kind of have a little backstory on how I get these topics. I live in Roseville. So if people don't know Roseville is about 90% white people. So I come in contact with a lot of white people. And I'm very vocal on how I stand and for my people and just the situations that are going on. And a lot of times I've heard them flat out just say Black people need to stop playing victim. Now I have my own personal opinion. Me personally, one thing I've learned is once there is a person, a non-Black person in front of me who has a stance on a certain topic, especially this one, if I feel that the knowledge that I have accumulated over the years is not making them budge or not taking away some of their ignorance, I stop talking. My personal opinion on are Black people playing victims, I'm not going to answer that right now. I'm not going to answer that right now. I'm going to answer that a little bit later. I think it was a little bit too early for me to start digging my nails into this topic. So,
So that means y'all got to stay tuned and listen in. Hopefully y'all got your pens and papers always. You want to take notes because if you're not able to watch this again, you'll lose the information and you don't want to do that.
Yes. So Kings, go ahead. I want to listen to you guys for a minute.
Well, I think it's my personal opinion on it is I think we are the victims, and I think we do play victim as well. It's a double-edged sword with that. I think we are the victims because history shows that we are the victims, and history shows that we still haven't healed from the trauma that we've been experiencing here in America. We suffer from post-traumatic slave syndrome, and Dr. Joy DeGruy built on, and we suffer from a lot of the things that happened from us in the past because we haven't healed from them. Malcolm X, he say, if you wound a man and you put a patch on that wound, the wound is still not healed, something of that sort, until you stitch it up. You gotta medicate it, and you gotta stitch it up, and you gotta fix the problem, instead of what America does is try to put a sheet over the problem or try to blame everybody else, knowing damn well they're the problem. So
They try to put the blame back on us.
yeah, putting the blame back on us.
Yes, like we're 100% of the problem and that's it, you know?
Right, that's true. And when we do have leaders, right, when we have leaders that try to liberate us, y'all will kill them or put them in jail for trumped up charges. And then y'all look at us and say, oh, pull up your bootstrap. Why you not doing this? Why you not doing that? Well, if y'all leave us alone, maybe we could do something.
Right. Most definitely. I like the fact that you bring up Dr. DeGruy as well with the post-traumatic slave syndrome. And I want to mention one of the things that she does say is that bleeds down into your DNA on your children and your children's children just by association of, I mean, like, for instance, we know that giraffes weren't born with long necks. Eventually, they evolved those long necks as a survival method. So a lot of our post-traumatic slave syndrome has came from evolving into this race that has had to be protective and live a certain way and have a certain mindset just for survival. So I definitely agree with you mentioning that post-traumatic slave syndrome having a lot to do with it. So when you put that in there, that actually explains a lot of, yeah, there are people that play the victim, but when you add the post-traumatic slave syndrome thing in it, they're not playing. They're actually reacting in a mindset that's been passed on to them to react that way. So a lot of it is passed down, as Dr. DeGruy speaks about in post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Right. And how that works is trauma will leave chemical marks on your genes. And this is called epigenetics. And epigenetics shows how and why genes are expressed a certain way. So these chemical tags that add to your genes is called epigenetics. And it helps you adapt for survival. So a lot of ways that we got is just through nature. But it takes, I think it takes us to heal the wounds that we have. We don't need no Caucasians help, really, and there's no disrespect to them or anything, but when we healing, we need to have our own space to heal. We don't need them commenting on how we should heal and how we should feel, because it's our experience. It's our experience. And they can never see through our lens. So if they haven't been through it, they can't, they can't comment on it. It wouldn't be a logical comment.
And kind of piggyback on what you were saying, I don't want to disclose where I work, but I work in a field where there's not many of us. And it's funny because when the few Black people that I do work with, when we're in the staff room talking, and we can be talking about, most of the time we're talking about, Black stuff. When a non-Black person walks in, especially a white person, we all simultaneously shut up. We all simultaneously shut up. And I'm pretty sure that's how it was back in the day. When a white person walks in the room, you have to shut up because that's a survival. You can't let them know what you were talking about, even if you weren't talking about anything. So that kind of shows you, and it's not like we talked about, if a white person walk in, let's all be quiet. It's just automatic. Change the subject, act like we weren't talking about that.
Right.
So I do that as well.
I want to share a clip that was shared on our Facebook page, lowafricanminds.com, and I want to share this because when we're being told this, and we're told this so many times, get over it. Why don't you guys put that in the past? Why are you still going back to that? Why do you keep bringing that up? Needless to say, how long have we been bringing back up 9/11 and what happened then, which they don't want us to forget. We have memes that say never forget. Well, I want to share something that was on our page because I want to try to wrap my mind around how we're supposed to forget something like this. So this is Minister Farrakhan, and a lot of you probably have already seen this already. Hopefully Facebook don't throw shade and not allow me to pull this up, but let me pull this up here so I can show you all exactly what I'm talking about. Let me stop the music so we can hear. And I'll just play a little bit of this because I think it's a little long.
Some of the believers went to get it, but it's all sold out. And they said, what's going on? Is there a professor teaching a class? Listen. Listen.
Okay, hopefully Facebook don't keep me froze. Y'all know they do this all the time, and we call you out every time, Facebook, because we know you have live people that monitor our live.
I'm gonna read something. The story of a lynching, then, is more than the simple fact of a black man or woman hanged by the neck. It is the story of slow, methodical, sadistic, and often highly
Yeah, they're gonna keep throwing shade, y'all, but just give me a moment. Facebook, we already know how y'all do. And we know how the world is trying to block out a lot of what this brother has to say.
Forms of torture and mutilation. If executed by fire, it is the red-hot poker applied to the eyes and genitals, and the stench of burning flesh.
This is the stuff we supposed to just get
As
over.
the body
and
slowly roasts over the flames and the blood sizzles in the heat. If executed.
And a lot of y'all may need to just go to our Facebook page to get the rest of this, because like I said, Facebook throws shade every time we raise the frequency. We know y'all do it.
Hanging, it is the convulsive movement of the limbs, whether by fire or by rope. It is the dismemberment and distribution of severed bodily parts as favors and souvenirs to participants in the crowd. They used to come from miles around to see the hanging of a nigger. They would bring their children, and the children would watch, and the parents in glee as we screamed and begged for mercy. Look at this now. Teeth, ears, toes, fingers, nails, kneecaps, bits of charred skin and bones. Such human trophies might reappear as watch fobs hanging on a watch chain, or be displayed conspicuously for public viewing. The severed knuckles of Sam Hose, for example, would be prominently displayed in the window of a grocery store in Atlanta. The brutalities meted out in these years often exceeded the most vivid of imaginations. Now I'm going to read you something that I couldn't finish. When I first read it, I just couldn't go no further. Listen to this. After learning of the lynching of her husband, Mary Turner, in her 8th month of pregnancy, vowed to find those responsible, swear out warrants against them, and have them punished in the courts. For making such a threat, a mob of several hundred men and women determined to teach her a lesson. After tying her ankles together, they hung her from a tree, head downward, which meant that her dress came down over her head. Dousing her clothes with gasoline, they burned them from her body while she was still alive. Someone used a knife ordinarily reserved for splitting hogs to cut open the woman's abdomen. The infant fell from her womb to the ground and cried briefly, whereupon a member of this Valdosta, Georgia mob crushed the baby's head beneath his heel.
That's as much as I could take of that, y'all. I don't know about y'all, but that's not something I can just let go of or forget and just get over. I can't get over that. And I could barely listen to that whole thing. This is the stuff they want us to get over and to stop playing the victim. How do you get over something like that?
Yeah, and like other people, like Jewish people and other people aren't told to get over stuff.
No,
we're the only ones that are told to get over stuff. And I think it's because non-white people know the brutality and how disgusting and psychotic those hundreds of years were. I had a conversation with someone and they were saying, basically, get over it. Stop playing victim, get over it. And I'm like, they're like, oh, it was long time ago. I'm like, okay, well, if it was so long ago and we shouldn't bring up our history, then let's close down all the museums. Let's not teach history in school if history is not important. But what they were saying was, stop talking about your history.
Exactly.
They really were saying. And now I'm going to answer the question about, do I think that Black people, play victims? I feel that when we're victimized, we absolutely need to shine the light that we are a victim. But I think that sometimes our people get stuck in this rut of always talking about being a victim, that they can't move out and go beyond that. And that's what our people need. Our people need to know, yes, we do get victimized. And if one of us get victimized, we all get victimized because we're being victimized because of the color of our skin. So it could have been any one of us, any of our children, any one of us. If I was born back then in the story that was just told, that could have been my womb being cut open because I'm a Black woman. So there's a point in time where we need to shine a light on being a victim, but then also we need to shine a light on what do we really truly need to do. And it's not asking for a handout. It's unifying and moving forward and teaching our youth to be better youth, to be better adults when they become adults, and to really try to unify. That's what I think. So do we play victim? Absolutely, because we are. But we need to move beyond that when we have that chance. Once we're healed. I think that's the big thing. When you're a victim, you have this point in time where you're messed up, possibly physically, emotionally, spiritually, but you need to get beyond that point into the healing process. Then when you become in the healing process, you're not a victim anymore. You're a survivor, and now you can help other people who come behind you that are victims.
Most definitely. And I think part of that healing does in some way connect with reparations. I mean, we talk all of this about the Holocaust was so bad, and the Holocaust, we owe these so-called Jews all of this sympathy and monetary compensation, etc., for their Holocaust, but that's not the worst Holocaust. That's the worst Holocaust that was actually televised or recorded. They didn't record all this stuff that happened to us. We're the worst Holocaust that ever happened all over the world. And part of our healing requires, I mean, you can't heal without the resources to heal. And we need those resources.
Now, can we, what resources is that? What resources are you talking about that we need?
One is equality. We need an equal share of being able to participate in the world around us equally. Being, like, in other words, not being given less than or treated less than because of the color of our skin, not having our history stolen and then covered and not even taught in the schools. You know, I can recall reading about Anne Frank and the Holocaust and all that, but they never tell us about our history. There's nothing about our history. Martin Luther King, maybe. That's about the extent of my Black history. And then on top of that, monetary reparations to recover, because we've been in a point where we're just now even learning about what the word generational wealth means, while these other races have had a chance to not only know the definition of it, to have monetary resources to put up and put away for their children and their children's children and beyond. So we haven't had that opportunity ever to do that. If we've ever made it, it's one or two Negroes that they done already brainwashed into, don't do nothing for your people. If you do something for your people, put us behind it and we'll control it. You know, put us behind your helping of your people so we can make sure that we keep a control and a lid on the way that you help your people. And then if you jump out of line, we got some stuff on you that we're going to take you down. Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, all you brothers and sisters that got the money right now, they got them on a short leash saying, you go right to that fence, and that's as far as we want you to go as far as helping your people. Now you go beyond that fence, we got this and this and this on you, and we're going to bring that out on you. And so we're always at a disadvantage, and when we're at that type of disadvantage, there's no way we can heal because we're always against that fight. You know, you can't heal under constant stress and struggle. There's no way to heal when you're constantly stressed and struggled, and most Black men are inherently, they have sleep disorders and high blood pressure because they've had to stay up nights making sure that their wife and their daughters wasn't raped or their kids wasn't hurt in some kind of way in the night. So it's inherent. I see it all the time with brothers that can't even sleep during regular sleep hours. And when you're deprived of sleeping when the sun is down, then you don't get enough of when the sun is up. Now you have a vitamin D deficiency and you have all these different health ailments because you're not in your natural environment to heal and to grow like a plant, like a tree.
Dear, you have anything on to add on to that?
Well, my point on this, you know, me being a Moorish American, I build on the subject of nationality a lot, and I think having a nationality is important because on the national stage of how all nations and governments ran for thousands of years, they all dealt with having a nationality. If you don't have no nationality, you don't have no birthright. If you don't have no birthright, you can't get no inheritance because you're labeled. You're labeled as a property. So that's my that's my answer on that. But still though, we still need to be benefited with finance, with land, and with the freedom of not being oppressed so we can build for ourselves. We need to have our own police force. We need our own healing centers and hospitals. We have a long way to go, and they need to provide that since they provided the trauma owners.
So now I just had something come to my mind. So Yes, that would be lovely if they in our lifetimes that was given to us. Um, I'm wondering what another solution could be. You know, in Africa, we didn't have these organized religions. We had spirituality.
Yeah.
You know, if we could go back to that, where we know the universal law and manifestations, if we can all come together. That's the number one thing, is unifying and not
I
being
think
crabs in a
there's
barrel. If we can unify and build up our energy spiritually, it's not about waiting for someone to give us anything. It's going to be a universal law once we get our minds together and we're moving forward.
Most definitely. Hey, Mo Brown in the room, he mentioned we're too busy stressing over how to provide for our families. Definitely agree with you, brother, and thank you for that comment. It is hard to do a lot when we do have that stress of providing for our families and being in situations where we can't even speak up for ourselves because we may lose our provision for our families. And you mentioned spirituality as well, which was stolen from us, and a lot of it has been so compensated that it's hard. You know, these pastors that have led us as sheep to the slaughter, they've been getting all these breaks. You know, tax write-offs, nonprofit, they can take all the money out the hood and don't have to account for none of it, and don't have to put none of it into programs that really help us as a people. So, and we still continue to go to them because that's all we've been told is, oh, there's the answer right there. We go to this brother who's going to show us how to wait for this to come, and all that, and we just get more and more confused, and the post-traumatic slave syndrome just increases. It's just one thing on top of the other to just, make your mind just go crazy.
I think the church is one of the biggest weapons that they have. I mean, when we fought against them hundreds of years ago, we were fighting against European Christians.
Right.
When they colonized us, they gave us a Bible, they gave us the Christian black codes and many other laws that basically said, if you're not a Christian or if you don't convert to this, we're gonna put as much pressure as we can on you, so you could lose your culture and you could lose your identity.
Right.
So
right.
That was one of the biggest tricks that they used.
Right. And Queen Isabella and Ferdinand, while they was doing that, they was taking all the land and the possessions and all of that. And it's always, religion has always been tied to land, and that's why folks now are having a situation with, why have we been giving all this money to Israel and all of this, and they're not even the chosen people? Am I allowed to say that? Is that, they cut you off now if you say
you can say that. You on your own platform, you can say that.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, let's be real about it. And that's been based on religion, and I know from growing up in the church, I was mystified like that. I'm like, I guess I'm one of the grafted in. I'm just, I'm grafted into the God's children. So I'm going to just be thankful to be grafted in and thought less of. And so when you think you're less of, you accept less. You expect less. I have people that I've run into now, and they're of a different color, and they do stuff that I'm like, man, I'm paranoid that the police gonna knock down my door right now just for saying something like that. Just even with the anti-Semitism, we have been programmed so much to oh, okay, I gotta walk this straight line. It's walking on that tightrope where they don't even, a police get behind them, they ready to cuss the police out. We okay, let me make sure I paid my tags, got my seatbelt on. It's automatic for us, and that limits us to reaching a potential just based on those little things there, let alone the spirituality they took from us, the language they took from us, the possessions, all of our possessions, and they're still trying to take all the resources out of Africa now. and we just sit there and we're supposed to watch. I think that's why the biggest issue is us talking about worldwide African unity, because that is the one thing that they know will change the whole game. So they keep throwing these distractions at us. So the one thing we don't do is unite, and I think we're gonna change that.
I like that. I like that term, worldwide African unity. I think that's very important because we're all over this planet. We in East
Everywhere.
Africa. I see you, West Africa, East Africa,
Asia.
Brazil, Asia. We everywhere. We need to be unified under one mindset and one goal. It's too much division. Like if a Christian want to build for his people and he love his people, I'm rocking with him. If a Hebrew Israelite or Kemetic brother, they love their people, I'm rocking with them. I don't deal with all that back and forth because it's all the same thing. It's just seen from a different lens. It's all the same source. It's all coming from the same source. So that's my take on that. So I like what y'all doing. I love that term.
Most definitely, and you notice that all religion, none of it really, that's something totally different. Like if you, like you said, you're a Hebrew Israelite or whatever, that don't have nothing to do with us as a unified unit. You know, that's like
right.
a policeman or whatever. Say anybody's trying to put their job before something like that. There's nothing that separates us but the categories that they've always made for us. You know, you hear in the art of war, the key technique in art of war is to divide and conquer. So long as they keep us divided, they can keep us conquered, because we've been through the, oh, I'm blood, oh, I'm cuz, oh, I'm Baptist, oh, I'm brother. It don't matter what you is, in their eyes, they see it easier than you see it. And that's why they're always studying us, because they trying to figure out what is it we can do next to make sure that the sleeping lions don't wake up. Because if they wake up and realize they're lions, now we in trouble, because now they realize that all the other stuff is just a distraction. And I think that's what's happening now, is more and more people are waking up and being like, you know what? I may have white friends that I like, but I see my people now, and I see that even as much love and anything that I can bestow on any other race, I can't give you this melanated mindset. I can't give you the melanin, and that's the one connection we have. That's the one power that we have as a people to unite, and I think that will overcome, you know, like you said, worldwide African unity. That I know that Nsubu is probably dying to get in on that one, because he hit me on to worldwide African unity. It was something that it was there, kind of like, what do they call the word, serendipity or something like that, where it's something you know is missing. Like you taste the cake and you're like, Grandma, this ain't your usual cake. It's something missing in this cake. I don't know what it is, but it's one ingredient missing. And when you get that ingredient, you're like, there it is. That's it right there. Worldwide African unity. So I do believe it. And Nsubu, you can go ahead and clarify even deeper on worldwide African unity as well. Numa Kiwawa, bro.
Numa Kiwawa. So this is King Adeline, you know, gonna bring it to a higher state. We're gonna change the frequencies and kick it up a notch, you know. We're gonna look at this from a global perspective, so we can get into the macro to the micro. Now, on the macro level, if we don't use the word African, or we don't use the word more or Hebrew or black, we need to find the common denominator. So let's say we use the word Afro. Can we use the word Afro for a second? Yes, we can. You have Afro Filipinos, Negritos. You have Afro Chinese, the Net. You have Afro Asian, which is in Southern Asia. You have Afro Arabians. You have Afro Persians, and you have Afro Europeans, the black people of Russia and Germany, and over in Norway and Finland, okay, and these traces of because we're trying to look at a global perspective. Do we have Hispanics and Latinos, or do we have Afro Hispanics and Afro Latinos? Yes, we do. So now we understand that Afro, your hair being your signature, along with your skin, is a global perspective. And so we understand that in India, the caste is 3,000 years old. The darker you are, is the less you are on the stage. We know in Japan and China and throughout Southeast Asia and Asia Minor and Asia Major and Middle Asia, which they call Eurasia, the darker you are was considered noble royal blood beyond the 3,000 years. They put the script, and the lighter you are, right, is the better off you become in their structure. So now we're looking at a system. So let's bring it back to America. The system was founded on the Spanish, the French, and the British, and they imported slaves. There were a group of Frenchmen, there were a group of Spanish men, and there was a group of British men who sent money back to Europe, to the nobles, to the barons, to the viceroys, to the lords, to the dukes, in the different noble structure called black nobility, right? Over in Europe, these are the 21 families, right? Connected to the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and we can get into that in another session. But the point King Abdullah was making, the system itself operates off of your oppression. And when they fought the American Revolution, they told you about some tea. But if you look deeper into the tea plantation, there your black ass was, your Afro ass, your Nubian ass, your Moorish ass, your Hebrew ass, whatever name you want to call it. They were fighting that, hey, that they had these Afro people, these Africans, these Moors working on these plantations. So it wasn't about a goddamn tea tax, right? It was about, hey, we overseeing this whole operation. Why should we be sending money back over there when you motherfuckers over there? And they said we can be the slave master and keep the money. That's what the American Revolution was about. So if you look at the treaty or the contract that the British was getting, the British said, hey, if you fight on our side, right, we will give you a process where you can get your freedom. The American, which we call the revolters, right, before they was called American, they was not called American at the time. The revolters against the British, the French, and the Spanish colonists, right, said, hey, if you fight on our side, we will make a process where you can become freedmen if you fight in this so-called American Revolution, within Western originally called American Revolution. So let's just bring it back home. So here you are in war camps, what they call slavery. And you're in a system that operates off of your labor. You are in a system that when people are imported from Asia or from Eurasia or from Europe, right, they have a right to kill you. You have to be subservient to them because it brings them self-worth, it brings them interest, it brings them power, it brings them authority, all right? And this is all legal, right? So now you have a group of people who have been emancipated through a proclamation, something that's been proclaimed that you can move out of the system, right? Because the system is legally contracting to see you as less than a person from the genetic background code of what is called white or Caucasian or Indo-European. So now you're sojourning, you intubated back, you was emancipated, but you forfeited your emancipation and you integrated back. So legally, you are property of the United States Corporation in Washington, D.C., which is owned by the British, which is owned by the Vatican, which is owned by the Spanish and the French and Italian crowns. So when you do your research, you have 21 crowns in Europe that operates this corporation called the Republic of the United States of North America. So you are serving an impossible task to act a corporation, right, to give you some of its proceeds, when the proceeds come from your own demise. You're asking for some equality in a corporation that is built off of not allowing you to be a part of the shareholding qualities. You never once said, let's create our own system. No, we have a mind frame, which is good slave or good prisoners world, which they call Stockholm syndrome. We want them to give us something because we spent 400 years of slavery. And that's a critical mindset. They don't have to give a shit. Leave us alone for 40 years and we outdo them in everything. That's where the word more come in at. The word more is based off the word Amin Ra. When they went to Europe, it changed into Amora, and then it changed into more, Blackamoor, Moorish, right? So even in the kingdom of Morocco, it started off the Amin Ra. We was the Amin Ras, right? They sing this around the world. We take the word Amin Ra all around the world. Now, even in the word America, you hear a Morica, a Morica. Okay, so this is what we're being psyched at. We went from Amin Ra, and in English, it goes into Amora, right, or more, right? So when we come all the way out of English, we find ourselves, we go back into the great Amin Ra, and we understand that symbol, that falcon, right? We use the eagle. When we saw European countries as the eagle. So now we have our identity. We're that falcon. We got sharp eyes. We got great senses. We're supposed to move fast like thunder. But all we still try to be in their system. You're not going to win. Right, folks? Africans, Nubians.
They don't want to let that go. They don't want to let that go.
No, not without a fight.
Let me finish this part, because who gives a fuck about the one to let go? Because the job is not to let you go.
Exactly.
Everybody. I'm not talking about you personally, sister. The devil wants everybody. The enemy wants everybody to succumb, and he has a global system that he's making contracts with India and China and Arabia to present to the world organization, right, through the G17, that the Africans have never contributed to modern technology and to modern industrial civilization. So now you have a global community saying, hey, these people are expendable. Why? Because they have resources. So whether they want us to do something or not, our biggest weapon is our unity. We know all the bombs we created. We know all the helicopters, all the tanks. We know trains. We know every piece of technology and engineering and architectural equipment and industrial matter comes from our brain. We know that they had us in the movies as units. We know that throughout Asia, we was always seen at their advisor's side. They always peeped our, they always brain drained us. So, just getting back to what the conversation started off. Yes, of course we're victims. Of course we're victims. Now, the problem is we got to stop being fucking victims to each other.
That's where self-accountability comes in.
Racism, but when we become victims of each other, with this child abuse, with this pedophilia, with this black on black crime, with this extortion, with these gangs violating the sacredness of our own lives, with these women they're promoted to be prostitutes on strip malls, right? Now we become a victim of our own stuff. Now we cannot come out of the bubble of global white supremacy racism. Now we got people qualified in the educational system. We are a part of every corporation, and we are a part of every army on the earth. Now, like somebody said earlier, and I praise you for saying it, the mindset, right, brother?
It's all right. It starts right here.
Yes, you put it, and so did you, Queen Maisha. Also, to tune in to brother Chi Taki, the Grand High Tech question about worldwide African unity right here on Lord African Minds. This is what King Najla, when what Lord African Minds enjoy African markets in the ancient Nubian history, science, spirituality, and spiritual sciences talks about worldwide African unity, because we are a global community of communities. There's a pocket of us all over the earth. And they fucked up. They was already over Earth and they seen us and then they hunted us. That's why we don't see the blue black and the purple black and the black blacks. We see the brown blacks, we see the caramel blacks and all the other ones, right? You gotta remember they hunting, because the darker the melanin is, the more you can get together and vibrate to a higher frequency. Now they put us in ships and ships us around the world twice. Now we get to fly around the world on our own. The biggest problem that's going on now, we got excuse my language. I'll say real quick. I say we got motherfuckers coming from Brazil, Africa, and from Europe that's black, that's not talking to the African Americans. And we got African Americans talking about you African booty scratcher. I'm a Moor, I'm a Hebrew. I'm Nigerian. And I mean, once we get up this little bitch ass being connected to the tribal root instead of the grand earth, because the earth is our empire. We're not looking for the world empire, and we're not looking for the house of Israel. And we're not just looking for the planet called Africa. This is our globe. This is our planet. This is our dimension. This is our realm. And so they've been beating us down to the point that we want to transmutate or go with Jesus or wait for some prophet or messenger or something to come back when all that energy is in us. Like we got Queen Maisha here. We should have 3 or 4 more queens here speaking this truth. And tactfully, because it has nothing to do with white people no more. We already know what their position is. The only thing that we don't know is our position. We got to define our position. We have to be clear about our position and how we're going to invest in each other and what type of financial system are we going to create. Because we already know the Rockefellers and the Rothschild in the British Empire and the Catholic Church in the European Swiss bank got this shit sold up, right? As far as printing money. But they don't got the goddamn resources. Africa saying, hey, we need some help, African Americans. We need some help, diaspora. We need some help, South American Africans. And we got Negroes saying, Negro-Europeans saying, I'm not going over to Africa. And you got Afro-Europeans in Africa saying, we don't need y'all. But they're getting killed by France $500 million a year. And the British got their hands in there. The Russians are making territory, right? And we just got the Zimbabwe president who got rid of Robert Mugabe, who overthrew the whole British plantation farm system and was passing out land of black. We got this motherfucker cool talking about he finna pay them $12 billion. So as long as we got, and I think I'm going at the mindset. As long as we got a fucked up mindset, we're going to continue to be victims, right? Because we move off a victim mindset, which is Stockholm syndrome, and so the Willie Lynch. We understand that is what we're up against. But goddamn, man, can we come up with a curriculum? Can we come up with a psychological or psychiatric program, or socialized a therapeutic program to get our minds just starting to light speed back into our own health, into our own spirit? And I must say this last thing, right? They don't want us to use our spirit. That's why you created religion. Because if we didn't have a religion, if we used our spirit, we'll see that the spiritual beings in Mother Earth agrees with us, Father Son agrees with us, Planet of the Universe agrees with us, right? The ovaries agree with us, right? The sperm agrees with us. Everything agrees with us when we are being in our spirit. They trick us to make us think being the righteousness of God is what we want to be. No, we want to be righteous, period. Whether, without a God or a devil, we want to be righteous because that's who we are. And the only way we can be righteous is by knowing the truth. And the truth of all things is in our RNA and DNA. And with that, that's King Adeline and Super. I hope I asked you some questions that got a little clarity. I love this panel. Part 2.
Absolutely. So before we run out of time, since we talk about unity, we're talking about we have to come together. We're talking about healing. Let me go ahead and put that out there. August the 5th at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Queens of Queens Women's Group. I'm putting this together. It's going to be a meeting on GoToMeeting. Again, Queens with the Z, QUEENZ of Queens. The second Queen has a Z too. Women's Group. If you go to that Facebook page, you will see the flyer where you can get the link to join. The topic on Wednesday is living a life after sexual abuse. I'm going to stay on that topic for as long as my ancestors and my spirits tell me to. We need to heal ourselves, and a lot of our issues, not all, but a lot of our issues come from abuse as a child that we haven't resolved. So until I am told to move on from that topic, anybody who's listening, if you want to join, again, go to Queens, Queenz of Queenz Women's Discussion, Women's Group on Facebook. I will send the flyer to Tyke so he can put it on Loyal African Minds. I want to meet every Wednesday. It's confidential. I'm not recording the videos. You know, everything on there is confidential. We're doing it just for the ladies this week. Eventually, we're going to do it for the men too, because men need healing from this also, and also on different ways to protect our children, so we can have a chance and have a clear mind and a clear spirit, and really unify, and really not having to go back and try to repair trauma that our children could go through from sexual abuse. Stop it before it even happens. And in our community, we don't talk about it. We need to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. I don't care how uncomfortable anybody might feel. Again, if you want to join. It's confidential. Queens of Queens Women's Group on Facebook. Go ahead and get the flyer and get some more information. And you can always contact me also, Maisha Mini Hats on Facebook. Also, you can instant message me.
And that's this Wednesday, right, Queen?
On the 5th, yes. I'm going to do it every Wednesday at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
So please join Queen Maisha Mini Hats this Wednesday at 7 o'clock. It's going to be going down. All these things that's been swept under the rug, and this generational curses, and just turning the head, grandmama, auntie, uncles, sisters, and cousins. We know what shit going on. This is sick. This is our own sickness. The white man is sick for burning us and lynching us, but we sick for turning our eyes and act like we don't see the bullshit that's happening to these babies. And then we wonder why they come fucked up men and women. And we want to blame our children, right? Because it's mental sickness that has happened. And I'm not blaming the community for being victimized. I'm blaming the community for not coming up with its own therapy. And we have a sister, Maisha Mini Hats, right? And she's stepping up to start this process. And it's going to be confidential. And it's going to also be posted. Am I correct? She's going to send it to Taki. And you're going to put it in the web and on the page too also, right?
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, I'll send you all the information, the links and everything every week when I have a new flyer.
Okay, and if you guys like Brother Bay, because you know, usually I do a lot of talking. Today I try to kick back, and I want to kick back more because I got other things to cook up for us. And so if you guys like Brother Bay, let me know, because we're going to try to get him to become a permanent co-host, right? Because we want to build a platform of this worldwide African unity, and we're going to tackle many issues, right, on New Eyes to See.
So it looks like we have 1 more minute left. So
yes,
what'd you say?
You said yes?
I say yes, yeah, absolutely. So
I say, so it be.
Can we have you?
There it is, then.
We all on the same accord.
There it is. Hey,
go.
Worldwide African Unity, right in real time, right there, yo.
Absolutely.
And let me say this to the brother. I studied with the Moorish Science Temple of America under Shikra El-Rel. And I don't really say that, but to another brother, you know, Islam. And so, because I never speak about all the people I studied with, because it doesn't mean shit to me. It means shit to the person I studied with, because I'm only focused on global, worldwide African unity, right? And so here we got a Moorish brother, but he just said he likes the idea of global African unity, worldwide African unity.
Because I understand.
We need one of you Hebrew brothers, and we need one of you Kemetic brothers to come on into the fold, so we can show what worldwide community is. We want to show you. That's what we want to do. Go ahead, brother.
Absolutely.
Right.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
We had our final round here, and we want to go with final thoughts on our subject, and we're going to close it for the evening. So definitely want to hear final thoughts on our subject from Brother Aaron, is it? Or is it Keenan?
Sabir.
S-A-B-I-R.
S-A-B-I-R.
Got it. Brother Sabir, we want to hear your final thoughts on our subject tonight, and then we'll go to the Queen and close us out for the evening. Go ahead, bro.
I think this was a pretty dope subject. I like the fact that we also touched on self-accountability. I think that is much important. I like how King Ajalon took the sage and really built on self-accountability. That's real. We got things that we got to work on in our community. And this is a great platform. I see you guys really working on healing. Queen Maisha, she's working on sexual
That's my
abuse.
sister.
That's something that everybody is afraid to talk about, and that's something that we really need to put to the forefront. We need to be vigilant of this, and we need to handle we need to start handling niggas in our community that's violating, and women as well. Like that's where self-accountability kick in. We can always, when a white person do something, we want to get out here and march and we want to protest and shit, which we should do, but we got to also hold ourselves accountability, man, and we got to deal with things that happen in our community.
We have to live to a high
by any
standard.
means
We
necessary.
have to live to a high standard.
Yep.
There's no need to call ourselves kings and queens if we're not going to live noble and live royal. If we're not going to implement the laws of my act and live to a high standard, you know, we might as well turn to boss niggas and boss bitches again. But the frequency says the portal's open for us to have all our royalty. It starts in the thought process.
I should.
Well, I said what I had to say. I agree. I think we all kind of on one accord about our Black people playing victims. We are victims, but then also we need to take accountability. And a lot of us do. I'm not gonna say that all of us don't. A lot of us do. But we basically answer that question. So if anybody has any, you know, wants to know, they could watch this and you know, hear our opinions. So that's all I have to say about it.
Most definitely. So definitely the word on the street now is, yes, we have been victims, but we ain't got to remain victims no more.
Absolutely.
So, that being said, definitely appreciate you coming on, Brother Sabir. Looking forward to having you on again. Most definitely. People, please, we say this over and over again, please visit our website, lowafricanminds.com, and register as a member, because we're going to be getting to the point where there's subjects and stuff that we can't share on Facebook. You already see how Facebook throws shade and partially mutes us and does all kind of side-handed things with our information. With our website, lowafricanminds.com, it's our own real estate on the internet, and we're able to share more intimate and more in-depth information with our people there. So definitely you want to go to lowafricanminds.com, register as a member, get plugged in, get connected. We're doing a lot of things there as well as on Facebook, and we're working on all over the world. If you check out the globe when you go there, it's flags popping up continually showing you that folks is plugging in. I think since we opened the doors on the website, we probably had over 20,000 people come through and at least check us out. So we're that little dog right now, but we still barking, and y'all know that little dog bark enough and bark long enough, he gonna be heard by the big dog. So that being said, y'all definitely tune in. Tomorrow, I believe, is our Truth Changes the Narrative. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m., same place, same time. We'll see you tomorrow. Numa Kiwawa, everybody.
Peace.